Hey, Miss Debbie, how are you?
Well, how are you?
Good, good. All right, we got some people joining. We're gonna give everybody just a minute to jump in and then we'll get started. Hey, Brenda, long time no see. All right, for the 12:01 mark, I'm gonna send everyone uh who came resend their email just in case they need it. There we go. Perfect. Kathy. Hi, Phyllis. How are you? Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. All
I
right.
wasn't sure how many to expect.
This is a brand new class that we're doing. Today is the first time. So, and it's also in the middle of June. So everyone is usually on holiday. We've got quite a few people signed up, but a lot of people will sign up and they just want the recording, which is totally fine. We'll get started though. So I
Okay.
have a new class that we're teaching. Welcome to for being here. Um, and today we're going to be going over your we're going to be talking about what you can learn about your family genealogy through recipes and how to create a family cookbook. And at the end, I'll be going over if you would like to work with us. I've got a couple people who have created family cookbooks here that you can talk with and kind of pick their brain if you like. But yeah, so let me get started. I'm going to share my screen and slideshow. Escape. There we go. There we go. All right, here we go. So today like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about genealogy, what you can learn about family genealogy through recipes, um, as well as how to create a family cookbook. Beforehand, there are some people here who've been to one of these before, and some people here who are brand new. I want to take a moment to share a little bit about Create My Cookbook. So here at Create My Cookbook, our mission at the end of the day is we believe every recipe holds a story. And we believe that all recipes, traditions, and stories, we want to help families preserve them so that they can be shared and celebrated for generations to come. We don't care if you create a family cookbook in a Word document or if you use us. We really do believe all families should take the moment to preserve those recipes, stories, and culture. And we love helping and providing as much content as we can for that. A couple of fun facts about Create My Cookbook. To date, we've helped about 5.5 million recipes be preserved. And if we look at all of the recipes, we look at all of those recipes, the most common names that we have are mom, uh, grandma, nana, dad, and then mama. So those are our most common names when it comes to the recipes. And I think that's just a beautiful celebration and uh, testament to all the hard work that the moms and dad put in the kitchen for our families. I'll take a moment and share a little bit about myself. I'm Christina. I've been with Create My Cookbook since 2018. When I started at Create My Cookbook, I had not earned the title mom yet. I earned that title in 2020. And I loved the work that I did. I worked on product and I worked in marketing. And it's been just a really fun journey. And I've got to work on with a lot of really great people. But I'm not gonna lie, I did not fully understand the importance of the work that we do here until I became a mom. So in 2020, I had my daughter Anne Marie, and it was during the height of COVID. So we were all locked down. There was no getting to leave, go home, share her with aunts and uncles, all the things, and it was really sad. And I remember a moment very very vividly. And that is I was in Atlanta, which is where Create My Cookbook is based and headquartered. And I'm from Mobile, Alabama, and it was Mardi Gras. And Mardi Gras is Mobile is the home of Mardi Gras, and we go home for Mardi Gras. It's a big celebration. I was an adult when I realized that the whole world doesn't shut down for Mardi Gras, just us. And so I was so sad when Mardi Gras came and I couldn't bring her back home to see our family and do all the things Mardi Gras. But what we did do is we found a king cake and my husband made a big pot of jambalaya and I remember feeding it to her and I remember getting emotional because I had the realization of like we weren't geographically there, but I was able to share some of my culture and some of my upbringing with the next generation. And that was also just one of those mind shift pivotal moments, pivotal moments for me where you're like, wow, this is important. The work we do is important, and this is why we do it. This is why I go to work. And so since then, I know how important it is, and that's one of the many lessons that I've had as being a mom. The next year, she did get to go to Mardi Gras, and now she's 5, and she's been every year, and she loves it. And I have kept that tradition, keeping her in the kitchen and keeping her active and having those memories for her and future generations. There's my Anne Marie now, and we've added a new guy in January. This is Anthony. He's not quite cooking, but he is enjoying the fruits of our labor. This was last night. He had beans for the and avocado for the first time. So he's our little chunk. We're big. Let's go into it. What's the importance of the family recipe? A lot of this, they remind us of memories. They transport us geographically, whether you're in Atlanta or Mobile. They tell the story. They allow us to share our heritage with future generations. Everybody for a second. There'll be time where we can all chat soon. All right, there we go. What can we learn from these recipes? Well, we can learn a lot. We can learn about our culture, or we can learn about like some of our geography, where these recipes originated. And we can learn about the history and traditions behind them. This is Isaiah, and Isaiah is a really unique guy. I interviewed him for marketing purposes, ironically, several years back. And I learned about his story and I asked him, I said, oh my gosh, Isaiah, can I please share this? This is such a good story. And this is great. So Isaiah's mom is from the Dominican Republic and his dad is from India. And he created a family cookbook so that he could just kind of blend all the recipes that he grew up eating. But what was so interesting about this is as he created this book, he said that feedback. Let me turn mute real quick, everybody, and then you all. There we go. All right. Um, let's jump back in. Share.
No wonder it's her.
Perfect. All right. So Isaiah, what was so interesting was up until he created this cookbook, was he thought that his family was so different. He thought culturally they were so different. And but what he realized when he created this and he interviewed like his grandparents and his aunts and everything for the cookbook is they were so similar that many of their foods included similar techniques and similar sauces and similar spices. They were different in many ways, but at the end of the day, there was a huge use of rice and beans and and heavy spices on both sides. So Isaiah has in creating this cookbook realized just how unique his culture and heritage is and how to embrace it, which is really a beautiful testament. What's interesting is we often see recipes named differently based on the geographical regions. Miss Brenda's here. Miss Brenda we've joked before because she's come to a few of our classes. That she's got people from the north and from the south, and we name things different. If you are there at Thanksgiving and you're from the south like me, you have dressing. And if you're from the north, you most likely have stuffing. One is probably cornbread based, and one is probably got base of a white bread. But at the end of the day, they are very similar dishes that we just name differently. When we look at recipes that we have in our recipe box, we can often date them based on the ingredients that we're seeing inside. So for example, during the 1930s and 1940s, we see a lot of recipes that include organ meat. The reason for that is during this time was during the World Wars, and we as politically were really pushing for families to eat organ meat so that we could save the meat for the soldiers above. And so we see this huge influx of recipes that you may have inherited from your grandmother or great grandmother that include organ meat, and that's where that's coming from. So just some fun things you can learn from your recipes. I want to share now a story of Miss Rose. She's someone I interviewed as well, and I cannot put into words how beautifully she said this. So I'm just going to share what she said, like the recording, because she said it so beautiful. Here we go.
We remember our memories through smells and flavors, and to have, the exact recipe of the stuffing you make for the holiday, or how you make your gravy, or a cookie that brings back memories. You don't want that to get lost. It's really nice to have for future generations, and just for your family to share that with them, so that someday they can share it with you and say, look, Mom, I made your apple cake. Isn't it good? And it's very thrilling when your kids can do that for you.
So yeah, that's Miss Rose. She said a beautiful,
Remember,
and she just kind of shares how we can remember those things as we have those meetings. We had Ashley, who shared with us, she, every time she makes her macaroni and cheese at a family function, she thinks of her grandmother, because that's what her grandmother made at every function, and that's her way of keeping her grandmother alive at every family function, is making grandmother's mac and cheese. So we've talked about it. Why is it important that we serve these recipes? Miss Wanda, I'm going to mute you because I think Chris picking up feedback. I'm not ignoring you if you have questions at the end, but I am going to hit mute. All right. So what? Miss Wanda. Okay. So things do get lost. Recipes get lost. History gets forgotten. And at the end of the day, it's really sad, but traditions can disappear. And so it's important that we take the moment to document these so that we have them. So how do you tell your family story in a cookbook? We help families do this all the time. And so it's actually very, very simple. You start with the recipes. You start there. Where are they? You start with the recipe box. Most families have a recipe box. Most people have a recipe box. And if you don't have a box, I bet you've got a drawer or a Ziploc full of recipes. We all got it. It's messy. It's in our drawer. That's where it lives. Some people have Word documents, or it's in their head, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But you start with the recipes. Where are they? You get a plan to collect them. Then if you got family and friends that you want to work with, you ask them, hey, and I know you've got grandma's recipe, or whoever makes that one thing, you gotta ask the family and friends. You gotta be the collector and go grab all the recipes. And then the ones that you are creating with your family, sometimes we forget about those. We've got grandma's recipes that we've got written. We've got the recipes that were on, the drive, but then what are the ones that you're creating day to day that you're like, oh, it's not a family recipe, but that is your recipe. Don't forget those. Those are important for your kids. We have just like, it's so simple, but it's a taco recipe that we have, and it's ground beef and cheese. But I did not realize until my daughter was telling the story the other day. She's like, my mom makes the best tacos. I do not make the best tacos, guys, but to her, I make the best tacos. It's important that I write that recipe down, because she needs to relive that memory one day when I'm not here with her children. And they're going to be like, Mom, these tacos aren't great. They're going to be like, oh, but Nana Christina, she made them. And but write those down. Seriously, it's important. The things that you make on a day-to-day basis, take a moment to write those down. And then what do? Then you just sprinkle in those photos and stories. Sprinkle in the events, the things. Where do you make these recipes? You made them at Thanksgiving. Put in a Thanksgiving photo. If you've got the story of the time that Papa Jim lit the turkey on fire, put that story in there. Tell it so that in the future your grandkids can read it and laugh and remember all the crazy things and all why these things are important. So you combine them all together, and you can do this in a Word document. You can do this in a spiral notebook. I would say try to do something digitally, just so that if you had a house fire or a hurricane, I'm on the Gulf Coast, we are always worried about hurricanes. You have it, you do. And so that would be our suggestion. If you want, we love, I mean, Create My Cookbook, that is what we do. We help families create cookbooks. And I would love to share more information on how we do that. I also have Miss Debbie here and Miss Brenda. They have worked with us, and so we can pick their brain as well on their experience, so that we can share. And then I'll leave some time at the end for anyone to ask questions. If you I've helped many families. I've worked on cookbooks for years. If you have questions on how I can help you preserve your family recipes and what we can learn from your recipes in your family. So we have a service called the White Glove Service, which is where you are paired with a dedicated cookbook consultant who gets to know about your goals, your recipes, and creates a vision for your cookbook. It starts off with a kickoff call. It's a Zoom call, just like this, one-on-one with myself or Carly. And we get ongoing support via email to check in on getting your project complete. Oops, here's Donna Day. All right, we handle all the recipe collection, formatting, and prep. It's 5 meetings. There's a kickoff meeting, recipe entry and organization. This is where we go through all your recipes, help you categorize it. I'll get into the details about all this in just a second. A design and formatting meeting, a reviewing, and then an ordering meeting. So and the timeline is set to you. Some people work really, really fast. We'll talk to Miss Debbie in a minute. She finished a project, I think, in 2 weeks, and some people have been working on it for years. And we meet you at the timeline and the pace that works for you, and depending on the project. So during the kickoff call, you'll meet individually with myself or Carly, like as I mentioned, and we're going to be talking a lot about what you have envisioned for your family cookbook. We're going to be asking you a lot of questions. And so, oops, there we go. We'll help you figure out what you're trying to create in the cookbook you're trying to create, and we'll come up with a process to collect your recipes. We're going to ask you, hey, where are those recipes? We're going to help jog your brain to remember where they all are and come up with a plan to get them all collected. At the end of that meeting, you're going to have homework. We're going to say, all right, you got to go get those recipes. You got to go do this. You got to do that. We're going to follow up with you. We're going to drive you crazy. Miss Debbie can contest to that. We'll be like, hey, we need those recipes. Let's get it done, so that you can get all your recipes gathered. Meeting 2, we're going to take all those recipes and we're going to look at them and we're going to help you organize them. Depending on your recipe collection, there's different ways to organize things. Some people like to organize them, entrees, desserts. But for larger collections, some people have a really large dessert collection of recipes, we might want to break that out. We're gonna have cookies, cakes, pies. If you had a really large, like main dishes or entrees, we may need to break those out by meats or things like that. We'll take a look depending on your collection and help you figure that out. Other ways that people kind of organize is they might organize by family and friends. Like these are Nana's recipes. These are, Christina's recipes. These are Tabitha's. Or they may do it by holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, depending on the holiday that they want to organize. But that's what we can help you figure all that out. Meeting 3 is really fun. When you get to meeting 3, you really see your book come to life. We have created your cover design. We've picked out fonts. We've laid out the book for you. We've created section dividers, and you're coming to give us your critiques. Hey, I love this. I don't love that. I want to edit this. I want to add that. And you also are bringing any family stories or photos that you want sprinkled into that book. You bring it to that meeting and we're going to start laying them in just to really tell that family story. Any edit requests you have, you'll have it at that meeting. We'll meet again at meeting 4. We'll fix any of the edits, make any adjustments that you had requested from meeting 3, and we'll help you generate the files to review. During these files, it'll be what we print. We'll give you the file, have a watermark on it, so that you can share it with family and friends or look at it yourself and just read through it one more time. Make sure you're happy with all the recipes, all of the contents. and go through that. Meeting 5 is when we'll help you order the physical cookbooks. We have 5 different books, physical books that you can order from. We have 2 soft cover options and 3 hardback options, depending on what you're wanting to do this for. So for example, if you're an organization project and you're just going to be using this book a lot, we're going to suggest like a ring binder for you, because it's easy to open, get your recipes in and out, things like that. If you're doing this for a family reunion and you need a bunch of copies, we might suggest a soft cover perfect bound. And we'll talk through papers. So that's where it's nice to have someone there with you during the ordering process to answer all your questions about the different binding styles, about the different papers, so that you're making sure that the book that you're getting is exactly what you want. With this white glove experience with Create My Cookbook, you're getting the 5 one-on-one meetings with the cookbook experts. That's Carly. You've heard me mention her, or myself. And guys, when I joke and say you're pro, but we seriously are. We've done projects with BBC Good Food in the UK, Embassy Suites, BP, as well as hundreds and hundreds of families. So we live and breathe cookbooks. That's what we do all day long. So you're getting those 5 meetings. You're getting during meeting 1, you'll get the project plan and timeline, all your recipes typed. If that's something you need, we'll handle it. You just email them to us, or however you want to get them to us. You just send them over. The design of your cover, section dividers, fonts, book layout, photo uploads, story pages, all that, we'll take care of it. For this service, it's $3.99, a flat fee. This is the link if you want to book your first call. What I will say is, if at that first meeting, if you go through it and you get through it and you're like, this isn't for me, I want to do it myself. I want to do the cookbook all on my own. It's 100% money back guarantees. You just email support at Create My Cookbook and say, hey, this isn't really what I wanted. I'm gonna do this project on my own. You keep your project timeline, that's fine. And from there, you can go back. I'm gonna stop now. I want to answer any questions anyone might have about either cookbook projects, about genealogy and recipes. I can answer anything and everything that you might want to answer. I also have Miss Debbie here. I'm going to interview her for a few minutes and talk about her process. And Miss Brenda's here. They have created books with us, and I think Miss Debbie has hers with her, so she can hold it up and show you guys. But yeah, does anyone have any questions about cookbooks, recipes, genealogy, anything like that? I would love to answer that for you. All right, I'm gonna jump in and talk to Miss Debbie. So Miss Debbie, you got your book here with you. You went through creating a book with us, meeting with Carly. You finished one book and you're actually working on a second book. And you are interesting. So Miss Debbie's done 2 different types of books. She's done a fundraising book, and she's done a book. She's working on currently on a book for her family that has all of her family recipes. Her son just graduated this year, or like this month, like 2 weeks ago. And so that has been he's off to college, and she's getting all her recipes together so that these boys will, I don't know, hopefully they start cooking immediately, but usually it's not till they get married they start cooking some.
Yeah. So I started my cookbook journey actually December of 2013. I know that because I was entering some recipes last night in an email from my aunt, and that's when it started. So I got waylaid because I had young children in school. And then this past year, I wanted to pick up the project again and finish it. And since that time, I actually took an interesting turn in my journey, and I ran our snack shack for our high school for the past 4 years. And in doing that, I brought some new things to the snack shack, and people were constantly asking for the recipes that I made as a part of that. And so about March timeframe, one of the organizations at the school wanted to run a fundraising auction. And I knew I was working on this project, and I knew that in my family cookbook, I was going to have a section that addressed these snack shack recipes. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if I split this out into a separate book for the snack shack and put that in the auction? So here is my snack shack cookbook. And to date, I've sold about, I don't know, 10 copies of it. But I went into the auction, it made a lot of money. It was super cool. And the person who won it, it's not just recipes, but it's some stories about how we got to where we got and why we did what we did. And, that you need 8 double extra large pizzas from this one store in our area to feed the 40 football players, stories like that to just help, bolster the content in there, along with all of my recipes related to that. And so that's the book we did in 2 weeks. I had started it, but Carly jumped in. I was doing my custom cover design, right? This is not a stock design. I was working on this and I couldn't quite get it to fit. So as part of this process, Carly jumped into my Canva, fixed my design, pulled it all together for me, and then, helped me get the last recipes in there because about half of them were in my head and I had to get them
Yeah.
out. And then, yeah, she sat with me. We went through in one meeting, finalized the design and the layout and did the order and got the book here to me super quick. So
Yeah.
grateful that she would help me through that. Um, and
And
then it,
she was she does it in the most loving way. She and I both like we're not gonna bug you, but we just help you hold you accountable to get your recipes in, because everyone says, and I'll be honest, guys, at Create My Cookbook, we used to not do this one-on-one. I mean, we do have where you can just log in and do the software and work on the project. But people just kept reaching out to us and they're like, hey, I need some help. I need somebody to get on a call and help me figure out this process. And so we realized it's actually better if we run the project. And so we just gently remind you a lot, like, hey, Miss Debbie, we need those recipes. So all of a sudden, you've got, I hate to use the word bully, but we are just gently reminding you, like, you wanted to get this done. Come on, let's do it.
the whole thing is the timeline was short, and literally midnight the night before the last meeting with her, I was in there writing the last 4 recipes in my head into the app. Yeah, and if it weren't for that, it wouldn't have gotten done. I'm pretty confident.
Love that. Yeah, I have Miss Brenda here as well. She's working on a family cookbook. I think she has a very similar story. She's been working on it for years and years, and then finally when she worked on it with us one-on-one, we're actually ordered. She's on meeting 5. We've pushed it to tomorrow, but tomorrow she's going to be ordering her family cookbook, and this has been one that she has been working on for years, and she started. So we took 2 months to get hers done. So, because we started in April with Miss Brenda, and now it's here. So it went from years and years to like 2 months, and we got her project finished, which has been really fun. She has I teased Miss Brenda a little bit earlier. You guys heard me talk about the geographical and how we can learn from recipes from where they are geographically. Miss Brenda had to split her book in half because she's got Northerners and Southerners, and they just have very different ways of cooking. And she finally just decided, you know what, this is my husband's side and my side, and we're just gonna split the book in half. And so she's got 2 different books. It's funny because I'm from the South. I've created 3 family cookbooks personally. I have my maternal maiden name side, and I have all those recipes. I have my mother-in-law's cookbook, which is just her recipes, and I didn't blend the 2 because sometimes it's just not worth the drama, you know. And then I have my family recipe book, which is it's that, ironically, if you had a Venn diagram, that would be the circle of the 2 books, because those are the recipes that I'm cooking in my kitchen every day with my kids, um in in the kitchen. And then eventually my daughter will get all 3 copies, because she comes from both these sides of the family. And we've created what is our Gibson family cookbook, which is the ones that she's helping, and those are the memories she's making in the kitchen with my husband and I. Ironically, I'm not a very good cook. My husband cooks mostly. I can bake really well. I'm not a good cook. And but we do those memories and traditions are important. So I've got three recipe books, and one day when she's a many years from now, when she's a mom, I'm sure she'll have to throw in the other side of the family. We'll have another one going. But these are all fun. These are all great, beautiful problems to have. How do we organize these recipes? Who do I include? Who do I not include? how do we make everyone feel seen and important? And we can help you navigate through that because we've all done it personally ourselves, as well as helped many families navigate all of the intricacies of this project. If anyone's here, I know we have some people who we invited via email, and we also had we put some basic ads. Hey, do you want to learn about how to create a family cookbook? If Miss Phyllis, I see you're here, and Laura, if anybody wants to share what kind of inspired you to join today? Are you working on a family cookbook? Is it just something that's been popped in your head? Because I would love, I've got 30 more minutes and then I do have to jump, but I would love to help you get started, whether it be with us or whether it be on your own journey of creating a book. Um, where are you? Where are you in this process? Are you just thinking about it? Miss Phyllis, if you'll unmute yourself, bottom left corner, I'd love to hear your story.
In the upper right, so okay.
Oh, so sorry.
That's okay. I've enjoyed the visit. I started one a few years ago, and each of my grandkids were in college at the time, and so they were cooking on their own and so forth. And so I made one for them. I have one for our RV, and I have one for our place in Arizona, and I have one for my house in Washington. So I have the recipes in each of the places. That was kind of the start of the process. Not quite ready to jump in and
Yeah, no
totally
worries.
do the whole thing again. But at the same time, I have your information. My cousin and I have talked about doing some of our family recipes in a book. And I've got the information. My husband had some knee replacement surgery, so I need to go take care of him. But I have your information, and I will get keep in touch. Right now I'm going to go and take care of him, but thank you for the information, and we'll go from there.
Of course, yes. And send our thoughts to your husband and reach out if your cousin wants to jump on a call and we can come up with a plan.
That's what I'm thinking. She might want to do that.
That's what I'm interesting that you've said that. Well, I'll email you because we need to come up with something for families who are wanting to work together. How do we? I'll email you because that's interesting that you said that. Good luck. Go take care of your husband.
Okay. Take care. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Anyone else that have a cookbook that they're working on, they want to share like where they are in the process, and we can kind of help guide you. It's a small group today. That's what 4th of July holiday will do. Miss Wanda, what kind of book are you working on? We can hear you. Okay. There we go. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to send a replay of this so we can talk more about it. And feel free to reach out to support at Create My Cookbook if you have any
I
questions.
was going to say one last thing. So
Absolutely.
for the family cookbook that I'm working on, I've held up this stack of papers in the past. Like it was a huge stack of papers and cookbooks and whatnot. And I had made a list of the recipes I wanted in my book. And as of yesterday, that list was 300 recipes long. And so was part of the reason I think it probably took so long is that that's a lot of time to invest. And the reason that I went with the white glove option was that as of yesterday, I had sent 2/3 of those recipes to Carly through photos and scanned documents and emails. And she is, transcribing those however she's doing it, and they're ending up in the book. And, I've probably spent, probably 2 weeks, 40 hours a week worth of time invested on doing the parts I've done. And so when I look at that price for that white glove service, to me, it is completely and totally worth it to have Carly helping get all of that content in. Because, it would take me probably just as much money in we type credits to get it done. So, one way or another, it's getting done, and it's going to get done much faster with another set of, hands and help making it happen. So I'm grateful for the service. Thank you.
Thanks, Miss Debbie. We appreciate you and we love working on your cookbooks with you. So, Miss Brenda, did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just gonna say that before I publish the one that will be published tomorrow, I decided to make just a small holiday cookbook, and um it just to get it in my hands to see what it was like and how it looked and what I'd like to do different or repeat on other cookbooks. And I highly recommend, if you have something special to make, um I did a holiday book because it was in December and it worked really well. Everybody's loved it. And it only has like 92 pages. So it was a great starter book to get a feel of how you guys publish them and print them and how it looks. And Carly and you have been beyond phenomenal with the white glove service. It's worth every penny and then some. So thank you. I highly recommend it to everybody.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So, all right, guys. Well, you'll get an email from me, Christina, at Create My Cookbook. We'll have a replay, and how, if you'd like to do the white glove, you can do that. If not, I do hope that this conversation has inspired you to at least get your recipes all in one place to start a family cookbook, whether it just be a binder on your own or with us, because it is important. And the things that you do in the kitchen with your kids are important. I'm learning that as I am in the trenches with the little ones. And then I've working with so many moms who are, Miss Brenda and Miss Debbie, your two are very examples. I remind myself every moment when I'm dealing with the frustrating things that I'm going to miss this. I've heard it a million times. One day I'm going to wish that my kitchen was this messy. And so it reminds me to embrace every messy moment. So you guys give to me just as much, and help me be a better mom, be a better memory maker in the kitchen. So thank you both, because I do. I hear these stories, and I hear working with. I feel like there's such a theme. It's a lot of moms who their kids are getting ready to go to college, and I hear those stories, or they have kiddos who are grown, and they're getting to relive that moment again. And so I tell myself now, like, savor this, because this is going to be a memory in 20 years that you're going to have to relive. And in the moment, sometimes that's harder than than I'd like to say. But Miss Brenda and Miss Debbie, thank you for sharing and giving me that insight, because I do take it seriously, and we take the work we do here seriously. So thank you. All right, guys, be on the lookout for white glove email replay. The class we have here. We are going to be trying to start some new classes as well to go. One thing we're good at is we have got a lot of information about recipes and cookbooks, and so we're going to start sharing that and creating more classes. If you have an interest in a class or an idea for a class, email it to me, because I can probably put that together and invite people. But yes, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July next week. Bye, guys.